honor to be here in the basement.
Yeah.
Tchotchkes.
Yeah, I was excited to get your first impressions of Tchotchkes. This is the first time you've ever been here.
Yes.
What do you think coming in?
Well, pulling in, it's very deceiving on the front. It seems very small, but
Right.
you pull up next to it and it's like a fortress.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. You know, it's a basement bar. We're not going to tell you the exact location, but it's small town, right?
Yeah.
This is a small town podcast.
It's got quite the system. Wish I had that in my van as a teenager.
Did you have the big ridiculous stereo system? No. I did. I had house speakers in my back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 2 equalizers
Big
and
woofer.
amps. Yeah, just ridiculous. Silly.
Did you have a good home setup though? As far
yeah.
as sound systems go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that still a thing? I mean, I guess it is, right?
Not as much as it
I
used
don't
to.
think it is at all.
Like overall systems or
No.
just...
I think people just have a Bluetooth speaker and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I have the big giant stereo, like the record player thing with the speakers that are huge, but
Right.
it's very rare.
Yeah, well, I guess the other thing too is like everything's connected to, like if you can get recessed lighting with speakers that all connect to your
Oh, yeah,
home.
the smart lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
which is all bullshit anyways, just ways to track you and fuck with your lighting.
It's possible.
Do you have a lot of smart stuff at your house?
Yeah, I got the
Things that are tracking
the
you?
light bulbs.
The light bulbs that change colors?
Yeah. Yeah, the dynamic colors.
Yeah.
Which
all
I
the-
never use.
No, you don't set the
it's-
mood?
Not really. I mean, if I'm watching TV, you can turn them down to like purple or something. And
Yeah, yeah.
it just makes me think of Prince.
Yeah.
Good movie, Purple Rain.
Yeah, and just dancing. Yeah, I mean, purple's for dancing to Prince. Red is for gutting deer in the living room.
Red's
That
also
one's pretty
kind of
rare.
creepy because it's like, ooh, red light district. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you ever just light up your entire apartment red and then sit by like your sliding glass door like you're trying to sell yourself?
when I was in a dorm in college, obviously there were no smart bulbs. You just had to buy one color bulb.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had some red ones.
You just lived for a year in college with a red room.
Where'd you go to college?
Brockport.
Brockport, party school.
Yeah.
Is the reputation deserved? Was it a party school?
It
when you were
was
there?
then, but I don't know what it's like now. I don't think it's anywhere near what it used to be.
Nothing is.
No.
Nothing's as wild as it used to
And
be.
this is Brockport, New York, for anybody that doesn't know,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
So known for being a party school that I'm sure Andy only added to.
I tried my best.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you go for?
Eventually, when I finally picked a major, what else would I go for? Political science.
Nice.
I mean,
That's a
what-
good comedian's major, I feel.
What
like.
easier way to get a job out of college?
Yeah.
Right. It's
Welcome-
a small corner of the job fair area is the political science majors
absolutely.
area.
Yeah. So you know what, Doug, we fucked up again and forgot to introduce producer Paige
Producer Paige is in the house. She's
Yeah.
not working tonight.
and co-producer Angie. And Ryan, our first regular at the bar.
It happens.
People are
from
just
time
going to
time.
stop by because that's what normally happens here. People just stop
Correct.
by. You know, they just sit down. You pour them a drink. Doug's always down here. There's also a way that you can leave a review on Yelp for Tchotchkes, believe it or not. Yeah.
Be kind.
The shit,
Actually, don't be kind. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get a 1.0 average.
right. And I think
That's
we're
my
doing a
goal.
pretty good job with that.
And I got
It's
kicked off the
real
first
shitty.
time. I had it set up as a business account, and then 2 of our friends put a review in there, and I snapped back because you can comment back.
Right.
And apparently, I didn't meet the guidelines of proper etiquette for a business, and they
You
shut me
didn't-
down.
So you snapped back a little too hard.
I did. I
You ever
said
get
next time
snapped
go to
back
Applebee's
at
is my
a little
comment.
Too hard?
That's what I got in trouble for. Next time go to Applebee's, and they're like, that doesn't meet the
Well,
criteria.
being that this is Andy's first time here, he can compare this to an Applebee's and give, for anybody that's never been here before, which is 99.9% of the people watching this. Active here.
I mean, I can cook you a
How
Jack
would you-
Daniel's steak if you want one.
Do you want sizzling fajitas? We want a shitty review, but
Right.
there's people that take it very seriously. Are you one of those people?
No.
No. Yeah.
It has to be pretty extreme. As far as reviews, I like reading when the owner responds.
Right. That's
And
what I
it
was doing.
becomes
That's
a
how I get in
back
trouble.
and forth.
You a big reviewer, Doug? You
No,
get
never
on
left
Yelp?
one. Never.
No?
Never.
Never left. You've only responded in anger.
Only, yes.
That's good.
Twice, and I got in trouble.
So, Andy is a comedian, and I think that's part of the reason that we wanted him on.
Correct.
Yep.
So, when did that start? In college?
No.
After
no.
college?
So this was after whoring around at Brockport
Trying to whore around, yeah.
and trying. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, it was...
What is trying to whore around? What is that? Just throwing some
You know, a lot of
darts
strikes
and seeing what
gutters,
balloons they.
you know.
After college, you started?
Oh, this was only less than 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What made you do that? Well, like, what was the thing?
During COVID, I was listening to a lot of comedy.
Shooting guns in Vegas.
Yep.
It was in the middle of like one just rung out.
And I just started writing jokes on my phone and would send them to friends, and they liked them. And so finally, when things started to open up around here, I went to Helium, did a half-day class.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, this is a little easier than I thought it would be.
Right.
And
Yeah. When you say easier, do you mean like more comfortable on stage? Like as soon as you got up there? Thank you very much. Like when you got up on stage, you felt more comfortable than you assumed you were going to feel as soon as you got up there?
that was part of it, because we did go up on stage a couple times. But just the writing aspect, because that's the bulk of
Right.
what you learn. You know,
Yes.
it's like an intro. crash
Right,
course.
right. Yeah, to write a joke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Not just go
would
up
have
there.
never guessed just 3 years. Because I've seen you a couple times, and you seem like you've been doing it for a while.
I think I went about it a little different than most. You can probably share how you started, but after that, I watched for months at the open mics.
Yeah. Oh, so after the class, you just observed as opposed to actually going up.
Yeah.
I mean, I started in a very similar way. When I was 22, I took a class that lasted, I think it was like 6 weeks or so. And it was great in the sense that it was just a class where it was essentially just an open mic. Like you'd go up, the first week you had to write a minute of material. And you just did it in front of the entire class. And then the entire class gave you like critiques, as did the person who was running the class. And her name is Linda Smith, also a hilarious comedian, and has, been in comedy for a very long time. So it was cool in that way, where it was like you could kind of shake off the nerves with people who were experiencing the same thing. Whereas you go to an open mic and you have people who are very seasoned, have been around for a very long time, and could go up there. You could tell that they just have this level of comfortability on stage, and that is what a class isn't going to teach you, in my opinion. So you waited a while before you went up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that was a benefit, or do you think that was more because you were just like, oh, this is so different from the class, I don't know if I'm ready to do this yet?
I think deep down I wanted to go up, but I wasn't comfortable just yet.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch people, get to know people.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing was, because you've been to open mics where you see people that have never done it before.
Right.
And they got like 10 people there watching. And usually you never see them again.
Yeah.
And usually they don't really have much material.
Yeah. And that I
written.
think that could kind of be devastating to somebody who's just trying it for the first time. I don't know if you agree, but like it could, when you go to a mic and it's your first time doing it and you could just bomb, it's a
Yeah, you're not
tough
going
feeling.
back.
Right. Yeah. You don't, it's hard to get back up on stage. And I'm sure you could, I'm sure you would agree in saying like, even for as long as we've been doing, which about the same amount of time in total, like it can still be crushing. Like when you bomb, like it sucks. So
Yeah,
for that to be your
absolutely.
first experience could be,
So you waited for your shot.
Yeah.
Until you're confident.
Yeah.
What was the first night like?
Um.
Where was it? Do you remember where it was?
Yeah. Can I say the name of the place?
Sure, why not?
yeah, sure.
It was in Nietzsche's.
All right, I
in
like
Buffalo.
Nietzsche's.
Allen.
We might still be in Illinois. Who knows?
Yeah. And it was a good experience. I went up. I had stuff that I'd written quite a while ago, and I tried it out at another place just before that, and there's really no one there, so
Yeah.
couldn't really gauge
Yeah.
what the response was. But then when I did it in Nietzsche's, all the people that had seen me come around were like, "Oh, he's finally going up."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they were all very supportive. So
Yeah.
it was a good experience.
Yeah.
So you said you were listening to people during COVID. Who was it? Who inspired you?
So I was listening to Sirius Satellite.
Yep.
So they have different channels,
Like the
comedy.
99 Raw Dog Comedy Channel, all those, yeah.
Yeah, that one. There's like probably a half dozen or so, maybe more now. Comedy Central channel, stuff like that.
Is there like a particular comic you grew up listening to? Like who was your first comedian?
I remember real young. My parents had HBO for like a bit, and I've seen like Damon Wayans
Yeah.
do
Okay.
stand up
Yeah.
because he's pretty animated
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to like who else? I remember seeing Gary Shandling, who's like
Yeah.
the total opposite of Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and thinking he was funny too.
Yeah, that does create like a very broad spectrum of being
Yeah.
like, oh shit, both of these guys are very funny and
Yeah.
I'm into this,
And then as I, got older into high school, it was like Chris Rock and George Carlin.
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
guy growing up.
Yeah.
I started with the Steve Martin record,
Okay.
and Cheech and Chong record, right? This is late 70s.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Richard Pryor,
Yep.
and then George Carlin, and that's the guy that was like, that shit's funny. Like that was
Yeah.
the kind of like humor.
Yeah.
Like I like that. His
Yeah.
style.
I think they kind of set the stage for everybody
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I feel like those are,
Because before that, it was just one-liners.
Right.
And
Right, like a Don Rickles type.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Quick.
yeah.
Who
I mean,
love,
well,
in his
Rickles
own right,
was
that's funny shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rodney Dangerfield, like that's a different kind of comedy, but funny.
Oh yeah.
Rodney still cracks me up.
Oh yeah,
For
as
sure.
does Don Rickles. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm not a huge. I definitely don't think that I would hang well in like a roast. But Don Rickles is a master of it. It's like I think that there's a way of being classy about it while also having great jokes and really burning somebody. Right. And I don't think that anybody does it better than Don Rickles. And I don't think that's not a hot take, like
those old roasts, like back from the Vegas days with like Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin and Sinatra.
Yeah.
Like that's what kind of started the whole roast thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did it in a different way.
Yeah. Then like
Than
the
it is
Friars
today.
Club in New York, But even you watch Don Rickles, like I've only ever known Don Rickles as an old man, like because he's been an old man. We was an old man ever since I was a child. And you watch him even like I think that he died pushing 90 or something like that. But like the latest videos that you could watch of him are still fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, he was a funny dude.
Yeah. And it was still able to keep that same type of like sharpness to his comedy and again, not like beating somebody over the head with their most, as far as roast goes, like a roast. I mean, yeah, there's look, I'll always appreciate a great joke, but some people like go right for the fucking jugular, you know, where I feel like he never really had to do that. And he was just still hilarious. He was going to make you laugh as hard as anybody else, you know? So yeah, he's definitely a big influence.
Yeah, and seeing him on like Letterman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's really, you know, our generation's the only time you like saw him like doing stuff, unless it was an infomercial for the roasts from the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a Gen Xer. I was born in 70. Just to
Okay.
set the
Yeah, so
time frame for
that's
me.
a big part of the podcast as well, is the difference between. So I
I'm
did tell
Gen X.
Doug,
He's Gen Y, and Paige is
and
Gen
this
Z.
this is important for this
All
episode.
legit.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Doug.
No,
but
no.
This is important for this episode. I did tell Doug before the episode started that I had some news for him. So yeah, unfortunately, what happened today? So Doug and I have filmed probably what six episodes
Yeah,
up
probably
until this
6 of
point.
these.
This would actually be like the seventh episode that we filmed.
You deleted everything today, didn't you?
Well, I didn't purposefully delete everything, but everything did get deleted, and it was a real moment of panic and anger. I'll say that. I'll leave it. I mean, anger is light. I was freaking the fuck out because a drive that I have that's 8 terabytes, right?
Right.
Just completely shit the bed today, and it's something that I use to back up pretty much my entire life. So everything that we filmed prior to today is gone. So Andy, congratulations! You've made it to episode 1. This is where I'm gonna have a bunch of like streamers and stuff fly up. It's going to say episode 1. So that's why I was so thorough about the introduction earlier.
All right. Now it makes sense.
And I always want to be thorough about, we already introduced producer Paige, right? All right.
All right. So now we can go back. So I'm a Gen Xer,
right.
born in 70.
Which is part of the podcast itself, is something that we want to draw attention to, is the difference in the, you know, our
Yeah.
ages and our
Different
generations.
perspectives.
Yeah.
I think I'm right in the middle of you two.
Yeah.
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 I'm at the tail end of Gen X.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I'm probably right at the beginning of,
You are right at the beginning of
yeah.
the
So I'm
millennials.
38. Doug is 50,
5.
55.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to share your...
Dad, you are about to be 56
Going
years
to be
old.
in May. Yeah, in May.
Yes.
Whatever.
Whatever. It's just a number.
Don't look at day over...
Dude, I feel like I'm 20
If you told me that you were 46...
21 to 27 in
believe
my
We
you.
brain.
cannot do this again.
I am
In
gonna
the
do
Lost
this
again.
Cuts,
Yeah.
Doug explained that he
I'd
feels
say
like
so.
he's 21, which is weird because I, his daughter, am 24.
Correct. So I was -3 when she was.
I'm
conceived.
also pissed because Frank lost all of my epic reactions to his bullshit.
It's unreal, but I'm going to let it slide. I'm just going to.
If there's
roll with it.
anybody
Who
out
cares?
there that knows anything about data recovery...
I got a good story, but I don't want to take away time from Andy. But I got a really good story about this. So my friend is a DJ, right?
Yeah.
Does a lot of weddings, all that kind of crap. His entire
Andy might know who he is.
repertoire. DJ Jixter from 97 Rock. You know him? Okay.
Yep.
Grew up together. Went to high school together. Whole thing. Like this since there's like a picture up on the ceiling of us as 15-year-olds.
We'll cut to
I'll
that
show it to
picture.
you in a second. It's right in that area.
Oh, is that... No, that's Britney Spears.
No, we're in the back of a car at 15. Anyways, I volunteer to transfer. I volunteer to transfer his entire music catalog for his business from his old laptop to his new laptop using my external hard drive. Copy it all over. Everything's going great. Like walking around the house, trip over the fucking cord, hard drive hits the ground. Boom, I got nothing. Nothing. I'm like,
Because
oh,
the hard drive
shit.
hit the ground?
Yeah. Turn it back on. Errors. Like
Oh, like
I'm like, oh,
telling you to reformat?
yeah. I couldn't read the drive.
Oh.
So I call him, and I'm like, explain it. He's like, hold on a second. Puts me on the phone with like one of the engineers from the radio station, and he's like, you're not going to believe me, but put it in the freezer.
Put it in the freezer.
Put it in the freezer for like 3 hours. Take it out of the freezer, plug it in, and you're going to have about 30 minutes to get everything you can get off that drive.
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, okay, dude, whatever.
He hangs up and he's like, I just told this asshole to put the hard drive in the freezer.
Right. It fucking worked.
Oh, shit.
Swear to God. Because
He's like, are you standing on your head when you plug it back in, sir?
No, it fucking worked. Got everything off of it. So the guy said later that it realigns the magnet somehow on the drive.
This is giving
it
me
gets
hope.
cold, and it actually fixes it. But once you can only do it once, and it totally worked. It was amazing.
Have you ever had a situation like that where you've just completely deleted like a full drive worth of shit?
No.
Oh.
'Cause
Andy's like, no, I'm not a fucking idiot.
I
So
know
Frank,
what I'm
I've done-
doing.
Abuses a 10-year-old hard drive. I mean, I know Andy through comedy. Part of the reason that we got him on the show and was interested to have him on. And I can tell you one thing, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass, dude. Andy is 100% one of my favorite people to watch in the comedy scene that we are in. I guess you call it the Western New York / Buffalo comedy scene. He's one of the greats, freaking hilarious, and or Illinois.
I had you number 2 on the card, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
thought you
you.
were really good.
Yeah, in reference to the comedy competition that takes place in Buffalo at
the
Helium
so-called
Comedy Club.
contest.
Yeah, the contest. Yeah, yeah.
No, I appreciate that. That's
So it is interesting to hear that you waited a bit before you went up, because you also see, I mean, like, watching you definitely seem like somebody who's very natural on stage. And I mean, so I've been back at it about 2 years now. Yeah. Like next month, it'll be 2 years that I've been back at it after a 12-year layoff. And so that means that you would have only been at it for about a year when I saw you for the first time.
yeah.
And I mean, I honestly, I distinctly remember the first set that I ever watched you at, and it was very funny. Me and Angie went to the first open mic that I had been at in a very long time at Nietzsche's.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Fuck, that guy was funny as shit."
Yeah, I think I remember seeing you two there and thinking, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
It is funny for like a comedy open mic. People who don't show up week after week immediately stand out when you're the new people there. So
I thought Angie was your handler.
that's true. Like, oh, we're gonna give this fucking goofball a night out. That's what it was.
So, Andy, what were your thoughts when Frank was like, come to Batavia and do a comedy show? Were you like, why the fuck would I come to Batavia?
Yeah, Illinois. That's a bit of a hike for me, but I'm like, I'll take what I can get.
Right.
Sleep in my car if I have to, like all the greats did.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't remember. I think I was like, okay, Batavia. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like where we're at, it's like,
I think I was in I was doing the contest, and I think that's when we started talking a bit.
yeah, that was the first time that we really
Yeah.
started talking, was when I had you. Doug and I produced a show at a local place called Go Art, which is Genesee Orleans Art. Maybe Illinois, maybe Western New York. Who knows? You'll have to look it up. You should Google it. But we produced a show there, and we had Andy.
I remember his first joke, and now I'm going to give away. I'm going to give away
Are we?
location.
Oh,
Because
are
you remember what it
gonna
was?
do one of Andy's jokes?
The very
We have to
first
get
joke you
Andy's
told
approval for that.
made me giggle. Was you were thanking Frank for bringing you out to Batavia, and you looked on a map where it was, and you said, "Oh, it's halfway between Buffalo and Rochester." So you're basically like the taint between Buffalo and Rochester.
Yes,
Yes.
I remember that. Yeah,
The hairy taint.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was still only a year in, so I didn't know what to expect.
I had no idea at the time that you were only a year in.
And
at that point,
and that was such a great experience.
It's a great spot for a show.
Yeah.
It's a great spot overall. I mean, I feel like if you're an artist in the area, it's some place you should definitely check out. It's a great resource for artists in general. In Western New York, it's called Go Art, the Genesee Orleans Art Center. And check it out. I call everything an art center now, by the way. I was calling it Quebec Art Center for like the first fucking year that I lived out here.
What else would it be? An emporium?
Yeah, I don't know. Big ass fucking
arena.
Yeah, I also learned, like, because you go to these different places and you start to see, okay, the dynamics of the room and the size and the crowd, and every place is different.
Mm-hmm.
And that just turned out to be, just great all around.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of
a lot of
intimacy
fun.
to the
Oh, yeah.
comedy there. It's great. It's
Yeah.
low ceiling, small room, and fortunately we were able to, spread the word pretty good and pack it out that night. So, I also distinctly remember the show, and I feel like that being close to 2 years ago now for a particular show to stick
You did
out.
like 5 or 6 of them, right? 5 or 6 of those shows.
Yeah, since then, it's probably
Did you delete
6
all
or 7
those off the face of the earth?
Yeah, it's not just our shit. It's like 5 years worth of stuff. It's like raw footage from my short films, and all my porn. No, no, I wouldn't keep it on that drive. Get it all.
Andy, it's time for your hot take. So we don't have our previous versions of this. Thank you to Frank. So
they're somewhere in the ether,
metaverse,
man. They're out there, man.
We'll take acid. We'll find it.
Yes,
It'll be fine. Yeah.
I'll stitch it back together.
So you have to delete one band from history, but that includes the butterfly effect of, like, if someone's inspired by that band, they're gone. Who are you getting rid of?
Oh, I think there's a lot of bands that could fill that spot.
Start hacking away because I got a whole list.
All right. So I'm interested to hear if this comes easy to you.
So I'm gonna go with. There's a lot of bands that maybe had a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
You gotta be aggressive.
Like a real
Yeah.
band.
No Chumbawamba.
That was on my mind.
Yeah.
Actually, that and who was it saying closing time?
Oh, Semisonic?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
stupid song.
Yeah.
Like a real band.
Are
we talking like?
I'll fuck with that song a
Are
little
we
bit.
talking like in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh, I'll go with that.
Do
I got
we
some
want to
big
set
ones I'm
can
gonna
we
cross
set
off
those
the list.
parameters that they have to be inducted?
Don't be scared because I'm going big.
If they have to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay, all right. Producer Paige says yes.
All right, if we're really going back, even before my time, and I know there's a lot of music fans out there that'll disagree. Steely Dan.
Really,
Ooh.
that's a deep cut right there.
Because,
That is a deep cut.
and they're great musicians.
Right?
Yeah.
I get it.
They do everything well, but there's just nothing that really hits with me.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. Like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
person has their own
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a ton of bands in the 80s too that
But
didn't
didn't
need
Steely
to
Dan
exist.
start yacht rock? I mean, weren't they the?
I don't think so.
I think
it was
that
more
what it was
Christopher
like
Cross and-
yacht rock
and
was
Little River Band and all the but
Yeah.
they're tangential because they all shared the same musicians.
Yeah.
Specifically,
That's a good-
Michael
hold on.
McDonald was on all of them. Yes.
tangential.
But I get it.
Okay.
I like Steely Dan. I
Yeah.
wouldn't cross them off the list.
You
but
can't
I understand
appreciate
where
Do
you
you,
come
do you
from.
need
talent,
to real
but
quick
Yeah.
genital
I would never
in
buy
tangential?
a
Okay.
CD
Okay.
or anything like that, or
Right.
pay for their music.
Now, are you a record guy?
No, never had records.
No.
Well, maybe when I was real young, we had like a little kid record player.
Okay.
Fisher Price one with the plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the earliest stuff I had was the Beatles and the Monkees.
All right.
Yeah. As far as records go,
I think they were cassettes.
I asked when I was I was never a record guy. I was always CDs, brought up with CDs, so pre MP3, but still a CD guy. And I asked my mother specifically when I was when I was first starting to get into music in like fourth or fifth grade or whatever. I asked my mother for a Smash Mouth CD. And I feel like this was pivotal for my.
Did she say no?
No, but this really shaped my music interest. This specific mistake, instead of Smash Mouth, she bought me Smashing Pumpkins instead. And I was too impatient. I really wanted to use a Discman that I also got for Christmas. This was Christmas. So she bought me a Discman, bought me Smashing Pumpkins instead of Smash Mouth. So this was the one CD that I had, and I was like, I'm listening to this fucking Discman, and I listened to Smashing Pumpkins instead. And I fucking hated it. Like fifth grade listening to Smashing Pumpkins, I was like, this is weird as fuck. I don't like this. But I just kept listening to it over and over again. And honestly, that's the way that I've gotten into a lot of music. Is like at first, I'm not like, oh shit, this is great. There's some music that's like that.
What album?
The Melancholy.
Infinite.
Wasn't that
Yes.
That's a
double
big
album?
album. You didn't like it?
Not at first in fifth grade when I was expecting like somebody's like that's what I'm waiting for, and I'm getting like sad fucking orchestra shit as a fifth grader. I'm like anti-skip
Your mom
mode.
deserves a medal. Some bands just rub you the wrong way.
I think there's so many that I'm just overwhelmed at the moment.
It does become overwhelming.
Because you got to admit, the 80s was all about image and not necessarily music.
So
Yeah.
you're leading me out. I got to hit this one.
Yeah. go
Def
for it.
Leppard. I
Okay.
can't fucking stand.
All right.
They pour some sugar on me.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like they started out
Doug's
cool,
just anti one hand.
right? They had like "Bringing On the Heartbreak," that
Yep.
song, right? Couple good tunes. Photograph, right?
Yep,
that
yep,
that
yep.
record was good. And then they came out with that record with "Pour Some Sugar on Me" and all, and they turned into this whole different thing.
But when I was 8, that was a rockin' song.
I know, I get it.
Pour some sugar on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would wipe them from the earth.
Okay.
And then Sticks.
So you.
Sticks.
and then I'm
Oh,
going
come
Kiss.
on,
I'm going
dude.
Kiss next. And I know I'm going to piss a
I'm
lot of people off
I
with that
definitely
one.
think Kiss is overrated.
They are Foghat with makeup on. That's what my
Okay.
opinion of Kiss is.
I don't have
and
enough
I like
of an
Foghat.
opinion about.
And I like some Kiss records. Or
Yeah.
some Kiss
But
songs.
Kiss
they got
was-
5 or 6 good songs. That's it.
But wasn't
Sorry,
Kiss
Gene.
like the beginning of we're just going to get dressed up and,
Exactly.
and I get like what Gene was saying about we want to put a show on and not turn our backs to the audience like Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Also,
We'll never see again.
Probably
Like
not. There's no bands anymore. That's gone.
that's
Yeah.
true.
There's
It's
no
all,
bands.
and that started to shift in the 80s too. With
And it was all bands back then.
yeah,
And it was bands coming out of any random town. Like the Tragically Hip kind of grew out of Canada.
Yeah.
And certain border towns like Buffalo got to like the Tragically Hip. But
Yeah.
nobody else in the country knew who they were.
yes.
So like
Right.
back in the day, that's what it was. And
Yeah.
it's not like that anymore. Now it's just individuals that usually come through a TV show
Yeah.
of some sort.
Yeah, if you can find the right spots to like watch this stuff or look for it, like KEXP is a great source for like up and coming bands that you wouldn't normally hear, and like that.
is that out of Seattle?
Yeah,
Yeah,
KEXP,
yeah, I've seen that.
There's been so many bands that I've found out about just by watching them. Have you ever watched like any of the live performances on YouTube and shit like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bunch of different.
But I understand
well-known
what Doug
bands.
is saying. I mean, like, there's so few bands. Like, what's the last? Can you recall the last band that you were like, oh shit, this is a great band? I can, but it is pretty recent, but it is few and far between, and I can't really remember the name of them.
Yeah, it's very few and far between. I don't know. I want to say the Strokes.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the
Good band.
Strokes, but even they're like 25 years old
Yeah.
at this
yeah.
point.
Right.
So
And I feel like they're hit or miss too. Like sometimes that dude's voice just drives me fucking
I saw
crazy.
them, pretty early on, and they were great.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you they're a really good band live.
And I appreciate them. I think there was one night on SNL where they weren't on the bill, but they filled in for someone and,
Just crushed
did
it.
crushed.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you they're. So you've seen them live?
Yeah.
Do you remember where you saw them at?
It was in Niagara Falls. Do you know the theater up there?
The Rapids Theater.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the
Rapids
old
Theater.
school looking theater.
Yeah, and I think
All indoors? Like this is
I think Jet opened for them.
Oh yeah, they had that one big song.
Yeah, I'm not a Jet fan.
What was the name of that song? Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a long time ago.
What was your favorite bands?
My favorite
What's
bands.
your number one band of all time? Personally, don't go like Beatles because they're number. Go your personal number one.
My dad got me into the Beatles early on, and I was so bummed out when I found out that they were broken up and John was dead.
Shit.
I had no idea. I was
Oh,
like
that is
7 years old, and I'm like, "What? John's dead? What?"
So Andy, you're also a mental health professional, right? Outside of being
Right.
a stand-up comedian, you're also a mental health professional. And I feel like one kind of also being a stand-up, one I feel like can definitely go with the other, right? Like it's I think it's hack to say at this point that comics aren't all there. So there's definitely a parallel between mental health and being a stand-up comedian. But you literally deal with both. You're a stand-up comic and also a mental health professional.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover
Yeah.
with that, both in fellow comedians.
Yeah.
Because
You
a lot
got
of
plenty of prospective clients. is what you're
yeah,
saying?
Yeah.
a lot of comedians like to talk about their mental health issues.
Yeah. I feel like it's something that we kind of flesh out on stage, you know. Again, that's no
sense.
secret, especially amongst comics. It's like-
Gary Goldman comes to mind.
yeah.
He's very open about his history,
Yeah.
which is, I think, very insightful.
And to me, I think one of the best joke writers to ever do it. I mean, as far
Yeah.
as just like the amount of wit and cleverness that goes into a joke, I feel like Gary Goldman is at the top of my list.
I thought you said Gary Coleman.
No.
No, rest in peace.
Yeah,
Gary
rest in
Goldman.
peace.
Different Strokes wasn't that
Yeah.
funny.
What you talking about, Doug?
Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't that funny.
No.
Gary Coleman. Sorry.
Yeah. No, this is Gary Goldman.
Goldman.
We are, yes, he's a
G-U-L?
stand-up comic. Yes, Gulman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, a hilarious stand-up. Like you should know who he. And I'm not saying that
I probably
you
should. I probably
know
do.
who
I
he-
just don't know names.
Well, it's you might, but I feel like everybody should know who he is, and I'm sure Andy would agree with this, just because he's such a great stand-up comic and somebody that I very much look up to as somebody who's been doing it for a short amount of period, like that Andy and I have. It's like
Right.
he's just such a great joke writer. He's so smart and so funny, but also a giant man who's super sensitive, which is what Andy was, I'm sure you were getting to, is the fact that he talks a lot about how he feels and how he's depressed on stage.
Right.
Yeah, he's been very open about it. Another person is Maria Bamford.
Yeah.
Yeah, who I hope to see this year. I did see Gary Goldman, I think last year
Yeah.
at some point. But yeah, and unfortunately, there's a lot of comics that passed away too young.
Yeah.
That unfortunately didn't deal with some things or weren't able to. But it's being a little bit older than the average person doing comedy early
Right.
on anyways. I think it's good to see some people that have made it, some people that haven't, some people that are working through it.
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of stories that I hear through my work that really opened my eyes to just things going on in general.
Yeah. I think when it's younger, when you're younger too, it's harder to get through. And I know that's a pretty big generalization. I'm sure that you have more that you could, you know, that you obviously have a more informed opinion about something like that. But I don't know. For me, like being younger and trying to navigate through not only mental health issues, but also stand-up comedy, it's much harder to navigate through.
Yeah, I think if I had started earlier, I would have gotten caught up in the party.
Yeah, well, there's that, but
Yeah.
like, I think that just generally as you get older, it's just easier to navigate through the bullshit of insecurity and like ego and things like that. That's a big part, in my opinion, of where you can start to slide down as far as things like performing arts, stand-up comedy being one of them, is like when you begin to care too much about how good you're doing, it can really fuck you, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know if you feel the same
Yeah,
way.
you have to be your own judge, but I think you have to have a insightful view of that, not get caught up in people telling you you're good or you're bad,
Yeah.
and try to find that happy medium
Yeah.
in really what you want to accomplish, and when you're up there, like being pretty objective with yourself, I think is pretty important.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's probably the most important thing is being like honest with how you're doing and what you're saying, but also like not caring. It's not the end of the world if things don't go great.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I appreciate people that have the view of it's this or bust.
Yeah.
You know, because that might propel someone to be a superstar.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
So tell me your best bomb story. You got up and just bombed one night.
It's hard to pick one. But I will say, and this is unique to me, I was doing a show where, and it was probably maybe a year and a half ago, I would say. So my tubing popped off multiple times
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
the set, and the first time I was able to make a joke about it,
Yeah.
but it happened like 2 more times after that, and it just took all the energy out of me
Yeah.
because I felt self-conscious about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me, like, what makes you feel self-conscious about it? Just like like the crowd is worried that something is.
Yes.
Because I'm only asking that because I've heard you make a joke about it before. You know, like where, like the crowd's worried that you're gonna die.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I just felt, for me, it just looked like it threw off the timing. First of all,
Yeah. Now, is this just your clumsiness that's knocking it out? Or
it's kind of a fluke.
interesting.
Yeah.
And it just you couldn't recover from it. Just threw you off.
Yeah, it threw me off. So I was self-conscious about it, and it just took the energy out of me, and I just wanted to be done with the set.
Yeah. Yeah. How
So
do you remember how long of a set it's supposed to be?
It's probably 10 minutes.
Okay. So pretty decent set. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't terrible,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't what
But
I
you're in
was
your head.
expecting.
It just
Yeah.
hit you,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my thought was, I don't want the audience to feel bad for me.
You don't want them to feel bad
No.
for you.
No.
Yeah.
So that's what
I
was
get
in
it.
my
Yeah,
head.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if they did or not.
Yeah.
But that's what I was kind of stuck on.
Yeah. You should have just been like, if you don't feel bad for me right now, you're a fucking piece of shit. You know that? That's
And now, later I would probably do something like that.
yeah. I
But,
could definitely-
we've been to open mics where it's just dead.
yeah.
And
Did you ever try a joke that just didn't work to the point where you felt like, oh shit, that didn't go the way I wanted it to go, and like that kind of bomb, I guess you'll say, because I know
Yeah.
you've said that happened to you a couple times.
Oh, it happens
Yeah.
so many times.
But-
yeah.
I think very early on, I did well my first couple times.
Yeah.
And then I went to an open mic and I tried the same stuff. And, sometimes the room just isn't
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
They're not. Some people aren't even paying attention.
Right.
They don't know you, so they don't really care. And I felt like, oh my God, this isn't working. So I just ended the set early.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't handle it. Whereas now I would be like, well, screw it. I'll just try another joke. Actually, you told me something early on when we first met, which was after your mom passed.
Yeah. Everybody thinks I'm gay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that just made me feel so much more comfortable.
I said, I don't know why everybody thinks I'm gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, probably because I cried so hard at my at my mother's funeral.
Yeah. I'm not even sure that's allowed in New Jersey.
Yeah, no. My father smacked me upside the fucking head. Told me to get a grip. I was like, I couldn't be holding this casket any tighter. All right, now I don't know what you're talking about.
So what was your family? Big family?
No. I have only one sibling.
Are you older or younger?
Younger. And we're very different.
Brother or sister above you?
Sister.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up around sports, which is where I learned what, irony was from a young age.
Right. Was your sister like the big athlete of the family?
Yeah.
Yeah?
She was. And she was kind of a legacy. It's my dad in sports, my grandfather.
What did she play?
Really?
She played everything.
Oh, yeah?
But her main sport was softball.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She bowled?
No, she
Yeah.
didn't bowl. No, she did tennis. She did swimming, some other sports, but she played that in college. My dad raced cars all the way up until like 10 years ago.
Really?
Maybe.
Like locally or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy actually
Lancaster?
brought me to my first professional race that I ever watched. Well, he didn't bring me. He didn't pick me up and whistle for me, and then I ran out of my house. But I met him there, and it was awesome. I mean, honestly, I'm not like a NASCAR guy or anything like that, but like watching it in real life and like how loud and kind of wild it was very interesting.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really put things into perspective when I started comedy, because I looked at it as I don't have thousands of dollars in this. I'm not risking my life. I don't need
Yeah.
a fire suit. I'm not getting
Not yet.
divorced over it. Going into debt, all the things that can happen if you race.
Yeah, because that's expensive. I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
very expensive. So, Andy, one thing that we, being that this is episode 1, this is going to be definitely not the 7th time that we're trying this, only the first. But being that this is a small town podcast, I feel like that's the vibe that we want to keep at a local establishment such as Tchotchkes. One thing that we're trying out with the show is by going through the local paper and reading a section called Brighter and Vent. Now, this is the penny saver that we have, right, Doug? The penny
the
saver,
local,
that's the local paper.
The local magazine. It's also got some classifieds in the back.
Yeah, and one reason
If
that
you're
we
looking for a plow. or maybe like a John
Yeah.
Deere 350.
A literal plow, not a gay plow. Okay.
That's on the
As
last
the
page.
producer,
Is that-
That's on the
part did
last
not
page, Frank.
feel necessary.
Yeah, Paige is also here, which we should
As an
probably
editor?
explain. Yeah,
That will be
as an
coming out
editor
in
of the
post.
show. Being that Paige is Gen Z, she's going to be our filter for us, at least us keeping our jobs, right? Because
That's the ultimate goal.
right?
Not
Doug,
to get fired from my real job.
right. Doug and I have full-time jobs, but one thing that I love about the Penny Saver is the section called Brighter and Vent, which when I first started getting the Penny Saver was called Rants and Raves.
Correct. Yeah.
Hey, Penny Saver, I would change it back to Rants and Raves.
100%. It
Yeah.
makes so much more sense.
Absolutely.
It has
Yeah.
a so much better ring to it than
They
Brighter and
obviously
Vent.
don't want to sell many copies of the Penny Saver with that change.
You should
Yeah.
submit that as
It
your
should be a
rant
vent.
/vent.
Ooh,
Bring
yes.
back the rants and raves.
My vent is going to bring back to call it Rants and Raves.
Right.
So we like to read through the rants. We haven't really gotten to the raves because who gives a shit about raves? You know, like
There's actually a good one in there. I want you to start with.
okay, but we're
the
gonna
raves.
read off one of the rants.
All right.
All right, and then we're gonna rate it on a shit scale.
How
Meaning,
many shits you give?
yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
1 to 8 tonight.
yeah.
Oh,
meaning
1 to
like
8. All
so.
right.
Yeah, one to 8, and the higher meaning like you agree with this person. This is a legitimate small town complaint. Lower meaning like what? Shut the fuck up. All right. So first one, and we'll just do this one. Rusting vehicles and farm equipment. I picked this one because I've experienced this. I've seen this, and
Really?
I am a little curious about it. With all the attention towards our environment, why do we allow old, broken farm equipment and vehicles of all kinds to rust away into the earth? Not only that, they should be ashamed of the eyesores that reflects on them. Do they really use them for parts? Most likely not. Sure, you can argue that they're on private property, but the earth belongs to all of us, especially for future generations. And I'd like to pause there and reflect. This is somebody that's pissed off about old farm vehicles and probably like old parked 18-wheeler fucking whatever's
Right.
just parked on farmland that's rusting away. Is this something that we've all seen? I'm sure, Andy, you've seen this.
Yeah, my scooter's rusty.
It is, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's a bit of an eyesore. I would probably work on that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you have scooters in the backyard for parts?
Actually, I do.
Do you really?
In my garage, yeah.
It makes sense, right? Like
I-
extra batteries and shit?
Do you bring it to Z-Bar and you're like, I'll wait?
No, I have at least two spare scooters for parts.
Is one a chopper? Do you got like one with a big wheel at the front?
No, it's just spare pouch because I can't get them anymore. And they don't make them like they used to. So
No shit.
yeah,
That's yeah. So to that article's point, like for farmers especially, a lot of them do use it for parts.
yeah,
And they don't care that you don't like what it looks like.
Right.
Now, the
Yeah.
flip side is the guy with the cars in front of his yard that isn't using them for parts and is just wants to keep them.
Right. So is that
Like,
really what
I
we're
get it.
complaining about here?
I get what that person's saying, but
Now, up until this point in the rant, which I'd say we're about halfway through. I'm sorry, the vent. We're about halfway through it. I would say that this person seems like they are very concerned about the environment. That the
about
rust
what
is
the rust?
It seems that way. They say
that's the worst thing that's going on right now is the rusting car.
Well, they say with all the intent. They started off by saying, with all the attention towards our environment, why do we allow old
What
broken farming?
attention?
Not anymore, right?
Yeah.
They're like,
Does anyone
by the
care
way,
anymore?
fuck the environment.
Have you seen what's going on TV? Like the bombs going off and something, like oil
Yeah,
burning.
not just that. And all, I mean,
Like what?
but the only reason that I bring that up is because, as I continue here, their very next line is saying, after saying that the earth belongs to all of us, they say, especially for future generations, I'm no tree hugger, but I recognize the damage they're doing. Perhaps someone can start up a company that removes rusted out, trashed equipment and make money selling to scrap yards at no cost or profit to the homeowner, and just be proud to say they're doing the right thing.
Does this person not have like TV, like the 1-800-JUNK? There's 1,000 places that remove junk from your house.
Yeah, that's true. So I would say overall, I mean,
this person
I've
gets
seen
a
it.
zero shit from me.
Yeah, zero shits.
That's stupid.
Wow.
Stupid complaint.
Okay.
Unless, like, let's say it's a city type lot, residential area, and you've got cars in your front yard. There's no excuse for that. Like, you got to be somewhat cognizant of the neighborhood. But if you've got a farm and you've got some things out back for parts, totally different story.
Yeah.
Like, so the way this started, zero.
I do feel like the land dictates it. Is that how you
Right.
feel? Is like
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got like 6 cars in your driveway
That's one
and
thing.
they're all pieces of shit,
Yeah.
that's one thing. But
Or 14
farm
cars,
equipment, farm equipment's not cheap.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And they say like, I'm not a tree hugger. Really?
Yeah.
You are.
I feel like the first person to say I'm not a tree hugger is like,
Yeah.
why would you even bring that up?
It's like saying I'm not
We're inside.
racist, but
yeah.
If you start a sentence
No,
with
look,
that,
I'm
you're
not
done.
racist.
Right.
Okay.
If you start with that line, you're done.
Yeah. Oh,
no matter what.
dude. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, definitely a tree hugger. And look, that's fine. Be a tree hugger and be upset about the rust. I feel like you're kind of grasping there because like
I want to know if they
you could
went
let a
up-
whole fucking like whatever giant piece of farming equipment like just rust away, and it's only really going to affect that spot of land and maybe a little further. I don't know. I'm not.
You don't want to go too far and just let it.
It's not going to
rot.
affect your yard. That's miles and miles or whatever across the street. I don't fucking know. Maybe it will. Maybe it's going to kill your whole. It's probably going to kill your whole family. Actually, I would.
I think there's an opportunity here to get this person to go approach their neighbor,
Yeah.
get this on camera,
Yeah, on neighbors. It
and
should be on
see
the
how
show.
it goes
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
This could be a big seller.
Yeah. Just, you know what? This is my advice to this person because this is something that we also, in our first non-existent 7 episodes, we did also offer some advice to the person writing in. I would say approach your neighbor, and say, get that rusty piece of shit off of your lawn. I'm tired of looking at it from across the street.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They're across the street or they're right next door.
Right.
But I also feel like, look, if you have a giant farm and it is farming equipment that you're actually taking from, if you have a bunch of acreage, like it's your land. Do whatever the fuck you want with it,
It's
Yeah.
lacking context.
Right.
Right.
So did you have a good? Oh, hold on. How many? Before I go there, how many shits would you give this?
1.
1 shit.
Good one, Andy.
I'm gonna give it 3 just because, like, if I do feel like this person is seeing something from the road, and if you're parking stuff that close to the road where people can see it and it is just rusting away, then that would bother me. Like the aesthetic of that, even if it is on a like a back country road, it's like just have more pride in the way that your house looks. Why the fuck would you want to have that parked out front rusting away?
Right.
So yeah, that would annoy the shit out of me.
Sounds like you gave some shits.
I give 3 shits.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're into this.
Yeah.
Give me a brighter over there.
Okay, a brighter.
Also known as a rave, which is way better. Rants and raves. We're just going to call it rants and
Okay,
raves.
yeah, we're going to call this a rave, which they call it brighter now. This is the power of prayer. I'm going to go with this one.
I'm going to go with 0 shits.
Right. Let's talk about something real.
Well, that's why.
If you want to go down this road, we're going to go down this road.
That's why I will pick this one because it's going to take a lot to convince me, and there's not a lot. This is a quarter of the fucking rusting vehicles. It's like people
All
care
right.
more about rusting vehicles than they
Okay.
do the power of
Let's hear
prayer. So the power of prayer. This is on the brighter side. Comforting to see my parish priest recognizing the need for special intentions for world peace in so many of our recent services. I believe in the power of prayer, and we sure need it at this point in our lives.
So what?
You know where I'm going with this is go ahead.
Yeah.
So what is the power of prayer for?
To this person,
It's
seems
going to
like it's
solve
something that's-
world peace.
It's going to well, they're at least appreciative that their priest at their parish is recognizing the need for special intentions for world peace.
Which is interesting,
So we're praying for world peace at this parish, is what
considering
this person is saying.
95% of the wars ever fought have been about religion,
Right. Yeah,
which is very interesting.
it is interesting.
So go ahead and pray that you win. Is
Are you a
basically
religious
what the
person, Andy?
No.
No. Doug?
no.
Yeah. I am
It's-
not
it's
either.
bullshit.
And it is very. I agree.
In
Did
fact,
you raise your children / producers that
No,
way?
I did
No?
not.
Absolutely
No.
not.
And it- okay, I'm going to go there.
Go there.
You know the uproar over the Minnesota child care clinics. You know that whole thing.
Yes.
you mean the fraud?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the whole frog going on. Start checking some of the churches around town. Okay, if you want it like equally as fraudulent.
Well,
That's
yeah,
that's my
it's
thought. That's
tax
where I'm
evasion,
going
in
with
my
religion. So
opinion.
let's table this. I'm just going to stop here because you know where I'm going to go with this.
Well, I mean, we can rein it back in to. I feel like the power of prayer, I think, is something that the three of us can agree is not a very useful power.
It's worked 50% of the time I've used it.
Really, 50. That's a pretty
It's
high
like flipping a
percentage.
coin.
That's high.
It works 50% of the time you use it.
Right.
Because we've all prayed for something and it's come true. We've all prayed for something and it hasn't come true.
I don't know if I've ever
Right,
prayed.
like I've definitely prayed when I froze Dad's laptop and I thought I was going to lose all of his files, like Frank did, and it worked again. But
Right.
that was chance. Frank
God
lost all
only
of
cares
God's
about
faith today.
data. Yeah. I'm gonna go home and pray tonight that it all comes back, and plug it in the morning.
After putting it in the freezer.
Oh
You
yeah,
should
Please
try it,
follow
for
up
real.
tomorrow.
yeah.
Did God save you?
So yeah, I give the power of prayer 1 out of 8 shits as far as giving a shit. And the reason that I give it 1 is because one thing that I will say as just the broadest stroke as I could possibly paint about just religion in general is I do feel like a person like this that's writing in is a positive person. And there are a lot of people that are involved heavily in religion that are positive people. And ultimately that's what I'm about. Because that's hard for me. I'm not positive. You know, I don't have a positive outlook.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. So I at least thank them for that. If prayer is worth a fuck in anything, it's at least it's positive, right?
True.
At least it's
I don't know. I feel he goes both ways. My mom lives in Houston now, so I've met some Texas women. And they're
Oh, boy.
very religious. They go to church every Sunday. They'll knock on the door to wake you up to go. And they're
Yeah,
the most
no.
hateful people I've met.
with that being said, we could probably wrap up episode number 1 here.
If it is one,
It's definitely going to be episode number 1.
sure it is.
Yeah, because everything else is in. It's somewhere. I mean, they say that nothing ever really disappears, right? So it's somewhere. It's in my head. I can see
all
it
right.
all. I can see it
It's
all,
all right.
frame
It's
for
all right.
frame. I just can't plug anything into my head and upload it to my computer right now. It's going to tell me to fucking format it over and over and over again. So we'll see what happens.
Andy, thanks for coming out.
Andy Ticco.
Thank you for
Thank you
having me.
so much for coming on to the show, man. This has been great. You were a wonderful
was a
first
blast.
guest, and we really appreciate you coming out to Batavia, New York, maybe Batavia.
I think we
Illinois.
already gave that away.
Yeah. Well, thank you, very much for tuning in to the first episode of Last Night at Tchotchkes. Take care. Have a great night.